The broadest consensus among the Taiwanese people and our various political parties is that we must defend our national sovereignty and our free and democratic way of life. On this point, we have no room for compromise.
We're going to unpack this now with Ross Feingold, who joins me from Taipei. He's an Asia political risk analyst. Ross, it's always good to have you on the program. So Taiwan's president today really doubling down on not wanting Chinese interference.
It's a similar message that President Tsai gives on major holidays, whether that's New Year's Day or typically the anniversary of her inauguration is also a day for a similar speech. With tensions rising, it's not a surprise that President Tsai would reiterate these points. And an important theme of her remarks as well was also resilience, both in the military space as well as in the economic space. So that's a really interesting part as well, because it's an appeal and a reminder to other countries, primarily the United States, but Japan as well, which had a large number of parliamentarians were here today. It's to say that we should treat Taiwan as an important economic partner as well, in addition to being a democratic partner that deserves the protection of other countries.
And Ross, how do you think Tsai Ing-wen's comments today will be viewed by Beijing, especially when she says things like she is going to boost the island's combat power?
I'd expect the same response from government agencies or state media that we typically see with regard to such remarks by the president here. And that's to say that she's trying to pursue independence, if not by words, then certainly by action. They'll probably blame the United States for interference as well. We also have to keep in mind that a lot of this, whether it's things that Tsai Ing-wen says or things that China says, is also focusing on a local election that's going to occur across Taiwan at the end of November. And then about 14 months later, in January 2024, are national elections when Taiwan will elect its next president and next legislature. So a lot of this, whether it's statements or actions, are now already focused on the political future as Tsai Ing-wen enters what basically is the lame duck period of her presidency.
Ross, have visits by U.S. politicians like Nancy Pelosi also just inflamed those tensions between China and Taiwan, despite Washington's official policy on Taiwan not changing at all?
It's a really interesting question. If we keep in mind the history, U.S. politicians, members of Congress, governors have always visited Taiwan for literally decades, and quite frequently, and sometimes in large delegations. When they come here, they tend to reflect the policies of the government of the day. So when there was a different president of a different political party between 2008 and 2016 who was seeking better ties with China, U.S. politicians would say you're doing a great job. And then when President Tsai took office with overwhelming support of the voters, we should always keep that in mind, and presents a different vision, then the U.S. Politicians will say you're doing a great job. So yeah, certainly there's a U.S. role here. Again, it's a bit political. Ultimately, when it comes to defense issues and providing weapons, and the possibility of sending troops to assist Taiwan if there is a war, that's primarily going to be the United States, and whether or not other countries such as Japan or Australia would exist, that is just a mystery.
Ross Feingold, always good to get your analysis. Thanks so much for speaking to us.